Hello and welcome back to more AEW on TEW2020. We are here in the second week of May, very close to Double or Nothing. And, well, this is the go-home show before the Mother's Day special Rampage. We start off our show of Dark with Wardlow still getting some of the ring rust off by defeating Maurice Scott. Maurice Scott is a gangster. He's in DPW right now, but he'll eventually get called up. Ricochet then defeats Nat Murphy, and Nat Murphy and Enzo have no chemistry. That is good to note. Yep, we will do that. Brian Cage and Ricky Starks then defeat Willpower. Actually, they get a pretty much, Willpower's a little bit behind. Britt Baker then hosts an episode of The Waiting Room with Darby Allin as the special guest. Britt spends much of the time complaining of Big Swole and vowing that she is going to take Swole down at Rampage because Britt Baker is the best in the business. Darby's a lot more calm about talking about Ricochet. Of course, two of them, both members of the Bankroll, managed by Antonio Banks, FKA MVP. And Darby says that Ricochet is someone that can sell people on his matches, but he's not someone that can speak for himself while Darby is. Darby is a full package in wrestling, while Ricochet is a one-trick pony. I'm not too confident about most of my feuds. So, yeah. Vikingo then defeats Dante Martin. TNT, the mini Dudley Brothers, defeat Alex Reynolds and John Silver. Alexander Hammerstone then defeats Brock Anderson. And after the match, El Phantasmo enters the ring, puts his foot on Brock Anderson's head, and begins speaking and says, "Hey, yo, Mox, I know that you're a bit too big of a star to come down here onto Dark. Hell, I know AJ is too. But here's something that you gotta know, that you gotta drill into your thick head. Brock Anderson right here, he's nothing. That's something that we've all established. He's only here because his little daddy's out here, and his old dad is nothing but an old husk of a man who's too old to move around. But there's one thing that Brock did on his own. That one thing he did without having to listen to you, something he decided to do. Now it's to join the Nightmare family, to join forces with you, and to join forces with that rat bastard, Cody. So you gotta remember something, Johnny Boy. Anyone who messes with the Bullet Club, anyone who aligns with our enemies, no matter how big, how small of a target they are, no matter who they are, they're going to get knocked the hell out." So ALP, and Priscilla Kelly is also there. Kip Sabian then defeats Austin Gunn. Griffin Slade defeats Trent. And afterwards, Devon Dudley and Joey Janela enter the ring. After the match, they beat down Trent a little bit more. And when Chuck Taylor tries to assist his best friend, they beat him up as well. Joey Janela begins setting up a table. Devon Dudley is preaching about how the best friends have crossed Adam Cole's will. Now, the two of them will know what it means to wrong people who are with Adam Cole, the Risen One himself. And then Joey Janela and Devon 3D Chuck Taylor through the table. They leave Trent alone. He's already been beaten up from the match with Griffin Slade, and as well as a little bit of a beatdown from them earlier. Chuck Taylor, relatively more fresh, and he gets 3D'd. Oh my brother. Main event, Kota Ibushi defeats Shawn Spears. 69 rated show. Very nice. We move on to Dynamite. Moving on to our show of Dynamite, we start off with a nice, hot opening match. Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Jonathan Gresham and outscores him. Yeah, that's fine by me. Fine by me. And with the match, Antonio Banks, when he gets into the ring, he looks almost uncharacteristically furious. He's normally been someone that's very composed. He's someone that has this very professional look, but right now he looks very flustered. He looks very angry at that. And he says, "Right, so this puts us in a bit of a difficult situation. Everyone in this little tournament that I've built is tied up with one win and one loss. So I suppose that there's one thing that we can do. There's still something we can do to make up for this difficult situation, to truly prove who the best technical wrestler in AEW is. I'll bring this up with Paul. I don't know when this will happen. I'll see what I can do about a triple threat between Fred Yehi, Zack Sabre Jr., and Jonathan Gresham. It's a good thing that all three of you are such technical wizards, that Jonathan Gresham is one of the best in the world, that Zack Sabre Jr. is one of the best in the world, that Fred Yehi is one of the best in the world, so that this won't have an effect on the long-term prospects of this company. So, Antonio Banks is very, very, very off-put by this. He's very concerned about, hey, what the hell just happened? He very much had a plan in mind. Gresham was gonna win. He was gonna prove he was best. Use that to launch new heights, but now everyone's tied up. It's a triple threat. After this, a vignette plays of CM Punk bringing Orange Cassidy around Chicago. Punk is trying to find out what Orange Cassidy is interested, to find out that the answer is absolutely nothing. Orange Cassidy has no interests whatsoever. Eventually, Punk just gets frustrated. He ends the quote-unquote training session for the day. Orange Cassidy does not care. Just before it fades to black, he just gives a thumbs up. Crowd pops. Okay. When we return to the ring, we see that it's set up for a debate. MJF is the first to come to the ring, and he's followed by all of the VIPs club. They're all in suits. Remy and Kevin Steen soon arrive as well. And why isn't Raven on there? Oh well. MJF announces that the first of their non-wrestling contests is a debate about the current state of pro wrestling, judged by three neutral parties: Mick Foley, Raven, and James Storm. MJF makes the argument that wrestling has been going in a terrible direction because people like him, the young youth of the wrestling world, have been put down in favor of the old heads, those upper 30s, those young 40s, even 50-year-olds, like Ramy Sabay, Kevin Steen, Chris Jericho. He's saying, hey, 1 year ago, this was the best time. 1 year ago was the best time in pro wrestling because someone like me was the champion. I was the champion. I'm this young star. I'm really the future of the entire business, not just AEW, the future of all of pro wrestling. And now I'm being replaced by Ramy Sabay. I'm being replaced by Kevin Steen. I'm being replaced by these figures of the mid-2000s instead of the figures of the early 2020s. The figures of now, I've been replaced by the figures of the past. Chris Jericho is getting screen time in 2022. AJ Styles is getting screen time in 2022. Probably even in there he throws a few jabs. Mick Foley's getting screen time. Brock Lesnar's getting a few screen time. He's just going on. He's, the future is now, and people are denying the future. And Ramy and Kevin are like, I mean, we're still in this because we're good. We're not just gonna toss everything away because of the youth in this company. There's AEW's one of the best companies in the world. We're allowing a place for the best in the world to shine in the ring, out of the ring. Anyone who is a good wrestler would want to come to AEW, even people who are all over the world, even people who are in New Japan, people who are in Impact. Everyone in pro wrestling looks at AEW and they see somewhere where they can shine. They see the place where everyone stays. They see the place where really you can come to be a star. You can show off what you are worth. And they're like, hey, this is a good thing that we have all these people like us. Yes, we're not exactly the youngest in there, but we're in our primes. We're still some of the best in the world. There's a reason that people loved us back then. There's a reason love us now. And so they keep going through with this. It's allowing best in the world to shine on grand stage. They're showing on primetime television, not only on Dynamite. They're showing on Rampage. Even people on YouTube can see for free on Dark. Anyone in the world can watch AEW and see that it is the best that pro wrestling has to offer. And Ramy and Kevin, they're arguing this. After a while of back and forth, I think I have this segment set at like 8 minutes. Time is announced. The judges deliberate for a little bit, and they all unanimously say that Ramy and Kevin are in the right. And MJF is pissed at this. He's like, hey, this is rigged. It's rigged because you guys are old. You guys are from the past. You hate me. You're exactly the problem. He storms off. Probably as he's leaving the ring, he yells at Ramy and Kevin, hey, this isn't over yet. We got more contests to get over. He storms off. The VIPs club follow. I'm imagining like everyone except for probably Chris Bay and Griffin Slade, because Chris Bay is kind of just relaxed, nonchalant. Griffin Slade's the very uptight, serious guy, and Josh Alexander is similar to that. Everyone else is just like making fun of Ramy and Kevin as they leave. I'm imagining like Deonna pretends that she's like using a walker to get out of the ring. Tanel's doing some cocky shit. it's a bit of a fun segment. I need to do more segments like this, more unique things that aren't just backstage assault, after-match assault, interview, vignette. Need to do more interesting things like this. After this, Maki and Abaddon are seen sneaking around, and they eventually sneak up on Kana. They demand to know why she didn't react to Maki's song. Kana's like, I would react to it now, it sounded good. And Maki's like, what? No, that's not what I was... You were supposed to get pissed off by it. You know, you're supposed to respect me. You're supposed to respect that I went out there and insulted you. You're supposed to call me the cutest in the world because I am. You're more than I... You're not as much as you think you are. That's what I'm trying to say. Kana's like, yeah, I mean, the fans love you. Sure. Maki's like... She's like, I'm imagining there was a few seconds of silence as Maki's waiting for Kana to be like, you know, you're a fan favorite, and you're also the cutest wrestler in the world. Maki's like waiting for that. Never happens. Maki gets pissed off. Challenges Kana to a match against Abaddon at Mother's Day, and Kana's like, yeah, sure, whatever. I already beat Abaddon once before, it's fine. Saving Maki versus Kana for DON. Chris Statlander then defeats Priscilla Kelly in the TBS title tournament. Kind of forgot that Chris Statlander was part of the tournament, and she also has a match at Mother's Day against Io, so that'll make up for it. Io Shirai comes after soon, like, pretty shortly after the match ends. She stands in the entrance ring, and she's like, yeah, no, that was a good match. It was a good match, even though they didn't click at all. Chris beckons for Io to come into the ring, and Io's like, no. Takes a few steps back, because she's creeped out, she's weirded out by the weird alien lady. Chris gets up, she's still motioning for Io to get into the ring, they just want to talk, and Io's like, no, I'll show you some motions, 1, 2, 3, you're gonna get pinned, maybe even submitted, I don't know, maybe makes a few tapping motions. Io's just being an asshole to Chris Statlander. After this, vignette plays to hype up the debut of Antonio Lautenz. He's shown working out, and some highlights of him in the ring are shown. Obviously not WWE highlights, and I don't even think there would be any highlights from before his time in NXT, because he would have hair then. So this would probably just be like generic wrestling highlights, you know, bring some people over that no one recognizes, wrestle against them. At the very end of it, he speaks, and he says, Jeff Cobb is to be my first opponent in AEW. Well, I don't know if there's too many better people. I've always been impressed by his in-ring work, and I'll be more than glad to take him on myself. Both of us are some of the strongest competitors in the ring, and I'm going to be a bit honest when I say I'm a little bit worried about my chances against him, but I'll be sure that at Double or Nothing, I will provide a match of the quality expected from both of us. So, Lautenz, he's very much a white meat babyface. He's all about the fun of wrestling. He wants to put on good matches because he's capable of putting on good matches because he's Cesaro. After this, Shotzi Blackheart, Queen Lupa, and Jessamine Duke defeat the Queen's Court. Pretty decent ratings from the Court. They're still... I mean, you can still tell that they're very new to the ring, but they're not bad. They're not bad. After this, Ashley Flair gets onto the stage. She's pissed off. She's like, alright, fine, whatever. You can have your match for your tank. Whatever. Shut up. Doesn't care about it. After the... Really? Disappointing. Adam Page is seen watching the video of Being the Elite, where Adam Cole died, and says, this is what has you so hung up on the past, Cole. I mean, I can't say that I've ever died myself, but there's something I can say that's happened to me that's also happened to you. I've been betrayed by people I thought were my friend. I got betrayed by Kenny. I got betrayed by Matt and Nick, but here's the difference between you and me. I didn't give in after that. I didn't turn to be those kinds of people. I didn't become a villain because my friends turned on me. I became something better than what they were. I became someone that they could eventually turn to, that they could look back on themselves and say that I regretted that. I wasn't scared of them. I wasn't angry at them. And you know what? They paid me back for it. I have this belt now because of Kenny. Because I could trust in him so much. Because I could trust in him to be at my back, to support me. I respect you as a wrestler, Cole. But I can't let you have this belt. It would be a disgrace for you to have this belt as you are. It would go against everything I stand for if you were to beat me as you are right now. So you can bring your worst, Risen One. I don't need to be a Risen One because I'm still standing. I won't fall. I haven't fallen. I will never fall. To make up for the fact that we had a women's title tournament, get a men's title tournament. Takahashi defeats Chris Pay. Pretty good match because I did make this a steel show match. Hey? I forgot to... whatever. Main event, there's a segment that I screwed up the placement, or just forgot to move. Briscoes defeat the Hit Squad in our main event. The Redneck Boogie. Briscoes defend their titles. Pretty even ratings. Hit Squad actually outscore them, but I don't want to hotshot the titles too much. I think it would be a little bit bad for the prestige, realistically, if we went from vacant to a champion with no defenses to a champion with one defense. So, Briscoes still have it. What the hell did I... This is the segment that's supposed to be after the Bay versus Takahashi. And then there's another segment that's supposed to be after that match, but whatever. Just imagine that these happen in the right places. Paul Heyman is seen in his office, and he says, Jericho, we can go back and forth on this forever. We can go back and forth about who had the bigger influence in pro wrestling. We can go back and forth about who likes who and who the fans like or dislike, but there's something that divides us. It's nothing personal against you, Chris. I'm sure that if I were in your position, I would think the same thing, but there's a difference in philosophy. I want to keep moving forward while you want to stay in the past. I'm here at the desk in charge of all the talent in AEW. I'm the one arranging the matches. I'm taking a look at everyone available and seeing who can benefit us in 2, 3, 5, 10 years. Because I know when it's time for me to step back and take a look at the big picture. I've always known when it's time to stay in the background. But you're just someone who keeps clinging to that past glory. You were good once upon a time. You were the best in the world once upon a time. And I loved working with you when you were at your peak. But now is a time when you need to hang up the boots. You need to know when the future is going on. And the future moves on without you, Chris Jericho. And then this is still the ending segment, but whatever. After the match, the Young Bucks come to the ring. They get face-to-face with the Briscoes, and after a few moments, they look to the screen, and this shows that the Young Bucks are the #1 contenders for the tag team titles. They tell the Briscoes that they want them at Double or Nothing, and that match is booked. 76 rating. Not bad. Not bad. Still in shock from me dropping down from big to medium, when I wasn't supposed to be big to begin with, but don't worry about it. It's fine. Good show. But it's not Dynamite I'm worried about, it's Rampage that I'm worried about, because I booked that a bit differently. But we'll see how that goes next time.